Welcome to the Fantasy Fair. The what is it? Oh, that is right. The most magical podcast on earth. Joining me, I have Alexys Moreno. What's up, Alexys? How you doing up in era of Zona?
I'm good.
All right. And then here we have in the burning California, we have...
Oh my god.
We have Alexys Soto. What's up?
Yeah, California's on fire, and if that wasn't like bad enough, there was literally a fire like in my neighborhood.
Oh really?
No, seriously, it was so like my neighborhood is actually off the freeway. And there was this abandoned, I guess it was a field of some sort, but it caught fire. And it's like literally like not even I think it's like a minute drive from here, from where I'm at. So it was bad.
Is my house okay?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, there was a danger, but it was relatively put out. Like the worst that happened is that the entire town smelled like a fucking bonfire. It was you were being choked.
December.
Yeah, but the whole town, and people were bitching and moaning about it. Although we had it the worst here in Parkside because it was literally right here.
Right there.
It was raining ash for a couple of minutes. I saw during the day.
I heard my brothers compare it to the Fire Nation.
Wow.
when they would show up in the ashes.
I thought that too when I would see.
Bwom, 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 bwom.
So, it's not just the rest of California. So like our place was on fire too and everything. But we're okay. But I'm still pretty fucking devastated today. So if that's any consolation, I'm still miserable. So
but that's your secret, Cap. You're always miserable.
Yeah.
Did they find out what caused it? Was it arson?
I think
was it an accident?
It doesn't make sense that it was arson. It was literally a fucking like field that no one gave a shit about. Although, it may have just happened by happenstance. Sometimes it happens it is a really hot area here in the Imperial Valley, even though it's been cooler lately. And by cool, I mean 105. So that should give you an indication of how hot it gets here.
Compared to 120.
Brisk 105.
Right. No, but the whole thing was charred. Get
out your sweaters.
I drove by it earlier today and it was just black. The whole thing was burned. Yeah.
I remember it was like a while back, like maybe early 2000s, mid 2000s, I'm not sure, that there was a fire like on the way to San Diego. Mm-hmm. Like, do you remember? And then like once you hit like a certain point, it was just black. But it was black for like years. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, because I was there. I think I drove. So I have a story with that. So you're talking about, I remember the year exactly, 2003.
Okay.
And that weekend I was staying in Chula Vista with my cousins. Uh-huh. And that Monday we literally drove past where the fires are at, so because I needed to get back and everything. Yeah. But but yeah, you're right. For many years it was just black. So that's how long.
Yeah.
But the scariest part about it was like in the morning when we woke up in San Diego, Chula Vista, the sky was pitch black. Mm-hmm. Like, we've all seen the photos in the last 2 weeks about the California fires and in Oregon about how the sky was orangey looking. Mm-hmm. It was dark red to black 9 a.m. that day.
Dang, that's crazy.
And I'm talking about the entire fucking sky. So it literally looked as if like hell or, popped out of the ocean.
Yeah.
Who removed the koi fish from the pond?
Literally, oh my god. It was bad. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, that's enough Avatar The Last Airbender references.
No, but yeah, I think that's like the closest thing I can remember, at least that like I've like actually seen like how bad like fires can affect something. Because I mean, and then especially at that time, I had just moved to the valley at that time, so we would go constantly to San Diego like every weekend. So I would see it all the time, and I always just kind of was like, dang, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's crazy too, because like my family and I were like frequent travelers to Julian. And just like the ride up to Julian, you just see like never ending like burnt down trees and shit like that, versus like, you know, the luscious pines, you know, across the mountains. And it's just it tears that shit down and to like bare nothing. And that's crazy how fires work, you know. And yeah, I joked about it, you know, California is on fire, Oregon and all that stuff, but you know, it a lot of people lose their shit. You know, so you know, so be safe, everyone, if you're listening. Yeah. So we are gathered. Any other?
That wasn't the way you wanted to open the podcast. It's a bit dark.
Oh,
but
no. No, it got really dark.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's in the news right now, you know, so might as well put a timestamp on this podcast. But because I'm pretty sure like some things are like have really good timestamps that we've done over the times. I remember there was one podcast we did on the Red Spotlight Entertainment where it was revealed that Ben Affleck was playing Batman. And we broke that news right in the podcast.
Right. We were, every now and then we do shows where stuff like that breaks. Unfortunately, the recent example of that was Chadwick Boseman dying, which destroyed our entire mood. Ironically, also on a Friday night. So who knows what could happen in the next hour or so.
Yeah, let's go. I mean, we lost the Supreme Justice.
God.
Yeah.
87 years old, passed away, pancreatic cancer. There's already images coming out of visuals at the Supreme Court. Thousands of people in D.C. already.
That's powerful. That's a powerful image. But yeah. Anyway, on to lighter news.
Maybe.
Maybe. We'll see where this goes. This is a Once Upon a Retrospect episode, and we are covering Mulan. We're keeping the spirit of Mulan alive in some shape or form after the remake. So we are here to talk about the 1998 film Mulan, and we're just gonna dive right into Once Upon a Retrospect, where we take a look back at all your favorite Disney movies. So let's begin and preface. Where did you guys like, was this a prominent film growing up with you guys? Moreno is shaking her head, so I'll go to her first.
Shaking her head which way? Yes or no? Because that could be.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Okay.
I remember watching this one a lot. I remember the cover on the VHS, which I loved because it showed like when she's like normal and then her like fancy
Half of it, the soldier.
Yeah, and I mean that iconic scene where she like takes off her makeup. I always love when she has her makeup on. So yeah, I remember watching it a lot, and yeah, it's great. It's really, this movie makes me laugh a lot. Yeah.
Is it due to a certain dragon?
No.
Or is it just like the events that go on?
It's actually, honestly, it's the grandma that makes me laugh a lot. I love all the scenes with the grandma.
Sign me up for the next war.
Would you like to stay forever? I love it. But yeah.
Or like when she's talking about like the ancestors, it's like, what do they know? They're dead.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, but no, I do love this movie. I feel like I have a lot of people around me that love this movie so much. Like Mulan is like everything to them. So it's kind of funny because like I don't feel that strongly about that, But like, I still love this movie, you know? Like, I still think it's such a good movie, and like the message behind like Mulan and her character and like everything about that, like I still think it's great. But like, it's not Alice or The Little Mermaid. You know what I mean? But like, I know a lot of people who's like, this is like their favorite movie, or like Disney movie at least.
Yeah, and I could see that. It's definitely like empowering. You know, you could feel that. It makes you true to your heart. So you get a lot of that in the movie. Alexys Soto. What was the impact on Mulan growing up, if there was any?
Yeah, you know, that's always an interesting question, right? It's like the three of us, and you know, in large part, we're friends because we're lifelong Disney fans, and a lot of that has to do with, you know, being brought up on those movies. And a lot of these movies from the 90s are films that we literally grew up on. But that isn't the case with every single film. And as we found out when we do these kind of retrospects, we have different histories with, you know, these kind of movies. Now with Mulan, I think my earliest memory of this would have to be, so this came out in 96, 97, 96, 97, 98, 98?
98.
98. Okay. I think I'm not sure I ever saw the VHS release, maybe because I owned the DVD. I think the very first DVD release of Mulan. So I think I might not have seen this movie until 2001, 2002, 2003. At that point. And I remember liking it. And that's kind of it. It wasn't one of the ones that I would return to. The ones that I would see kind of on repeat would always be Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Toy Story, Toy Story 2, Bug's Life, Lilo and Stitch, Tarzan, more so. Yeah, those are the ones that
all good. All really good.
Yeah. So that, and if you notice, a lot of those movies came out literally at that time, so or a little before me. So that's kind of like what I would have on repeat. And Mulan every now and then, but no, I don't think I ever revisited Mulan more than once or twice. I did for sure. It was better than Pocahontas because I don't think I even finished Pocahontas at that time. I know that's a complicated movie, but I mean, I'm just being real. I couldn't finish it because I was bored with that movie. When I watched it recently, I think it was earlier this year, I was more appreciative of the film and much more, I guess, engaged. But as a kid, Pocahontas just really didn't grab me at all. But Mulan, I think, does, and in large part because of the humor. And we'll get into all this, obviously. But now I feel like this happens to be one of those movies where every time I put it on, it gets better and better than I remember it. Again, even like leading up to the live action release of the film, we wanted to like, you know, catch up on these movies. And I think I did see it earlier this year in the pandemic. And I was like, wow, this is like really good. And for whatever reason, and I'm sure we'll discuss, it seems to often be left on the small end of the gene pool when it comes to the Disney Renaissance.
It dwindles on the bottom end of the gene pool.
Literally. When I feel like what this movie does, I feel is so, at least at the time, for sure, underappreciated. I just think it's a great animated movie. It's a great Disney movie. And I think it's encapsulated by an amazing lead. And so where I'm at with this movie now is, you know, it's so well executed, from the emotion to the story to the characterization to the fucking music. Oh my God. I know people all rave about the music. And yeah, but I don't think, but a lot of people I see, I think a little older than us, would say that the music is like the only great part of this movie, or the best part of the movie. The music is great, but there's a lot of great parts about this, not the least of which is an amazing lead character.
For me, when I was little, I only liked one song. Like, the rest of the songs, I was like, nah. It was more so, like, the characters and, like, the movie itself. But when it came to the music, I was like, nah. But, I mean, obviously now, like, it's changed.
Right.
But, yeah, I was, like, the complete opposite. Like, the music isn't what captured me when I was little.
Yeah, and I saw it after watching the live-action film, I think, a few weeks ago. Actually, did I see it? Yeah, I saw it again. What I have been listening to nonstop is the soundtrack, though, of Mulan. Not just the songs, but also the
Jared Goldsmith. Oh. Yeah, his work in this movie is impeccable.
It's actually epic. I listened to the suite. The suite of that is like, whoa, this is great. This is an amazing score.
I want to get into my background with it because it's huge.
It's huge.
It's huge.
I know you were thinking it. I just wanted to do it.
Fucking hell. I saw this movie in the theaters and I was blown away.
Wow.
It like the sound. I just want to emphasize the sound of this movie is gorgeous. If you have a sound system and all that stuff and, you know, booming bass, this is the movie to watch, because like this whole movie is incredible in that regard. They use those,
like, drums a lot.
Yeah, and it's like you could hear like the power behind it. But I remember I saw like the way it starts with the whole ink and everything like that. I was like, what am I watching? This, like, that freaked me out a little bit. I was like, what the hell? And then I remember seeing Sean Yu and like the whole thing. I was like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? And just being completely like petrified. I was like, holy hell. Who is this guy? And so I continued on the movie and watched it and did all that stuff. I loved, you know, Make a Man Out of You. I liked Mulan. That was the first time I was like, wow, like a female character that I was just like blown away with.
That says a lot.
And this was
says a lot.
Yeah, and it was 98, you know, it was like my first introduction to a badass female character and everything like that. And I remember laughing at the goofy three guys, you know, and I remember doing all that stuff. And after that, the movie kind of sat on the shelf for a little bit until 2001, 2002. Where my uncle, he bought the VHS that we were talking about. And it was a huge staple it's like one of the most watched movies in my family on my dad's side, because like on my dad's side we're Asian, you know, and so like they were like, wow, you know, we have a Disney movie for us, you know, and I think that's really important, you know, that was, you know, something back then. And so then they were like talking about, like, I remember my cousins, they would like pretend to do the dance sequence from Make a Man Out of You, when they were just like all that stuff with freaking coat hangers and all that stuff, pretending that was their bow staves, you know. I remember that shit. They were I remember my sister, she would like at the top of her lung sing the song Reflection. Like, who is that girl I see? Just from the top of her lungs screaming. I'm not even sure you could qualify it as singing. But
Probably not. Probably not. No, I've heard her sing.
It was that. Yeah. But she loved it. Mulan, you know, she saw a lot of herself in Mulan too, you know, growing up. And I think that's a very important thing. I didn't identify with anybody in the movie, but I saw this movie and I was like, this is very Asian. This is to then it wasn't until much later that I found out that there was a lot of backlash with this movie, and I was like, from where I was standing, there was none. This movie was adored.
And understand that, like, I feel like that the same can be said for almost every single Disney movie or any movie in general. That when we're kids, we're just there for the good parts of it, right? We absorb and we enjoy all of the, I think, the greatness that the film has to offer. And it's not until like we come of age and we learn and we know more about the world that we realize, wait, what? What's the shit with this movie? What's going on here? Like, you know, this is unrelated to cultural issues, although this movie has been accused of doing cultural, a lot of The Phantom Menace. For Peter, how he said in his story was like, oh, it wasn't until I think later, when he was, this must have been 2004 or 5, or maybe even 6 or 7, where he was like, oh yeah, what? People think these movies are bad? So it's like, we don't really understand like what the talk is. You know, we just kind of like, when you're a kid, I think Peter says that.
To enjoy
yes, exactly.
But that's the thing, though. Like, it wasn't like oh, people, you know, I didn't know that there was a conversation. It's just like I was boggled that that some Asians had problems with the movie at all, because from my family standpoint, they were Asian, but they loved the movie though.
Do you know, like, do you know what the problems were? Because I mean, I like, for real, like, I honestly don't know like what the problems were. Like, well, I know that the story of Mulan like didn't go exactly the way that it did in the movie, obviously. As none of the Disney movies
there was
ever do. So I mean,
there was no real Eddie Murphy dragon.
I mean, but, like, come on. Do you know what the problems were?
I like a lot. Honestly, it's just the fact that I think in the Chinese community that America is trying to Asianify their property when they shouldn't be. I think that's the problem. They want to Hollywoodize, and I think that's where everybody has like problems, especially overseas. Like, oh, it's Hollywoodized version of what it is versus something like more respectful and more, you know, what's that? What subtle? I don't even know the word, but it's like it's somewhere around those, you know, somewhere between that zone, and a lot of people said that, you know, it needed to be a little bit more accurate in terms of like the whole matchmaking thing, like different cultural aspects like that needed to be more looked upon instead of just being used as a back burner of a character beat, you know. So
that's interesting.
And again,
I feel like I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is like gonna be offensive or anything, but I think like even just showing it, because I would have never known that was a thing, you know. So I don't know. I feel like even just like showing it, like obviously, like I said, it's a movie. Like it's not gonna be accurate, but they're mentioning it, so that like sticks to your head, you know. So you're just kind of like, oh, like this is the thing that happened.
I mean, at the time of when Mulan existed, there was a little thing called foot binding, and I doubt they're going to show that in a Disney movie.
We need to be clear about this, and that is, none of this is clear. There's a lot of inner complexities. I feel many, and still today, most Americans, because we reside in this country, it's our birth country, and we've been ingrained in these American culture for better and for worse, for the better part of a quarter of a century. But most don't understand look, because, you know, we've identified Kyle as an Asian. Hello, Kyle. But I mean, what does that mean? Right? Like, he's not Chinese. He's not of Chinese descent. No. His family is not. And I mean, people don't understand that. I know some people want to like put all Asians in a box, but that's part of a reason why they hate Americans. Because like, no, like there's there's Filipinos, there's Japanese, there's Koreans, there's Chinese. I mean, so many different, not only countries, but communities, ways of thinking. And China in particular have concerns that, you know, Kyle's family wouldn't be concerned about. Like, for example, we have to acknowledge the fact that China, and they've had this view of America for, I think, ever since the 70s, especially since they've been like more aware of what America is. But there's been this feud, or this mental feud anyway, about like what's better, like Chinese culture in China anyway. This is where this conversation is prevalent: China or Western civilization. If you saw The Farewell, an amazing film from last year with Awkwafina, directed by Lulu Wang, one of the scenes has this Chinese family. Part of the family has lived in America and one has stayed in China, and they're literally having a fight literally at the dinner table because, oh, China's better, or oh, America's better. It's an ongoing thing. And with Chinese audiences, at least from what I've seen, is they are very critical of Western films that are trying to speak to their culture, which is part of why not only that Mulan, but the new Mulan has been criticized. And don't forget, Crazy Rich Asians, which was a massive success in America and many Asian Americans loved, was not loved by China. They looked at that movie and they were like, this is how you see us? Really? This is what you think we are? So there's so many different worlds we're talking about here. We can't possibly begin to understand.
And it's difficult too, because like a lot of these things are not, you know, within the grounds and confines of the whole black and white situation. You know, there is gray in there, you know, there is nuance, but like it's just you know, the development of where you fit in and all that stuff. To me, I think that it was important that Asia got a shout out.
Yeah.
At 1998,
I think that's, I don't know. I even right now, like how I said, with the new movie, like I understand and I don't disagree with all of like the backlash that it's getting and stuff. But I still think that, you know, we should also look at it as like, you know, that this is like a big thing for like the Asian community and stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely, because I mean that just speaks to a larger issue. I mean, the original Mulan was released in 1998, and yes, that's an animated film, but still, I mean, I think the argument can be made, and I'm not even sure argument, but maybe point is that we're in 2020, and there's still only a handful of films in the entire history of Hollywood, the Hollywood film system, that have featured a majority Asian cast.
And that's what the animated film was too. I mean, the cast was predominantly Asian.
Although, you know, that did get a little. We should acknowledge, though, that's true, but it also was criticized because some of them weren't Chinese per se, and then others they cast white actors to do Chinese. So that's another side issue here.
And the singing voices too were white and all that stuff.
I mean, the people who made the movie were white. I mean, and look, to be real, one of the main criticisms of the new Mulan is that, okay, you have an Asian cast, but you still have a white director and you have 4 white guy actors. White guy writers doing the script. So, I mean...
I mean, pick your battles. Okay, I can't take the new Mulan away from this element in that this was a huge step forward.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I think more movies should be made like this, you know, with more Asian representation and everything like that. And on it, coming from an Asian myself, I think that was really nice. The thing that
well, Kyle, can you answer this question? This is important right now to this moment. Besides Mulan, what other movies do you remember from your childhood that featured Asian characters at all that made an impression on you?
Rush Hour.
Oh my god.
Rush Hour. The Karate Kid. Wendy Wu, Homecoming Warrior.
Oh my god.
It's bad.
Did you ever see the animated series Jackie Chan Adventures?
Yes, I did. I love that show.
I love that show.
American
that made me,
Dragon Jake Long.
Jake Long, yeah. It's an American dragon. Oh, also, when I was little, this was the first time I was like, "Oh, there's Filipino actors." When I watched Hook, and my dad pointed out that the guy who plays Rufio, one Mr. Dante Bosco, is a Filipino, and I was like, "There's Filipino actors? What is this?" Because what? Yeah, because there was only one time where I saw Filipinos, on TV and all that stuff, and that was when the Filipino channel was on. No, literally, there's a Filipino channel, and so I was like,
where you saw the scary thing?
Oh yeah.
Let's not touch that, please.
Yeah. Okay.
No, we're
going
not.
over it. Going over it. Because I probably won't be able to sleep tonight. But yeah, I mean, it was like legendary shows like Wow Wow Wee.
That's really sad. Like, I know we're laughing, but like that's really sad.
I mean, that's making the point, right?
Yeah.
Like this. So Mulan was basically it. That was the big thing.
Yeah, and honestly, like, as much as like people complain and all that stuff, like, for example, when the movie Ghost in the Shell came out with Scarlett Johansson, yeah, like, number one, I don't think like the Asian community cared so much about Scarlett Johansson being cast. I think they were more insulted that America once again gave them an Asian movie that's just shit.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think that's where
isn't Ghost in the Shell anime or is it manga?
Yeah, no,
okay.
I think it was a manga and then it got turned into an anime. I don't know, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
but yeah,
anime doesn't translate well into movie. And to be clear, and to also point out another reason why Hollywood is shit when it comes to Asians.
Dragon Ball Evolution.
Well, no. I never saw that because I could tell it was shit from the trailer. But with Ghost in the Shell, remember they received blowback Black Widow.
Whoa.
My brain was like, okay. They received fuck off, Kyle. I didn't mean it that way. Blowback. They received blowback for casting Scarlett Johansson as Ghost in the Shell. And the issue was, I mean, how they resolved it was not to find an actor of color or, Asian actor to replace her. No, what they did is they made her look more Asian via visual effects.
That's so bad. That's so bad.
When they tried to do Crazy Rich Asians recently, a few years ago, one of the studios wanted to do it by hiring white actors.
No.
In a movie called Crazy Rich Asians.
Did you guys hear? I mean, it kind of ties in, but it's a different community. When somebody in the production of the Harriet Tubman movie that came out suggested that they hire what's her name? Pretty Woman.
Oh, Julia Roberts.
Yes, that they hire her to be Harriet Tubman.
Who?
Julia Roberts.
Yeah. They were looking at Julia Roberts to play Harriet Tubman.
Oh my God, you were okay. I heard that right then, Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
That reminds me of like the 30 Rock thing where Alec Baldwin is dressed like Harriet Tubman and he is just like, "Hey, Mark, it's me, Harriet Tubman."
Oh man. Yeah, I remember I don't know where I heard it, but somebody said it and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Are you talking about the Harriet Tubman movie that came out last year?
Yes,
with
that
Cynthia
one.
Erivo, yeah.
Yeah. But like the person who was telling the story, they were like, they laughed because they were like, "What the heck? Like they're kidding." But no, like this person was like dead serious. Like that person wanted Julia Roberts to play Harriet Tubman.
Hollywood.
So I guess the point is we were lucky to get Mulan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like dead lucky we got Mulan. But yeah. I love the movie.
Oh my god, it is so good. Like, I think
First of all, go on.
no, you go.
First of all, let's talk about the fucking cast, because holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, we have Ming Na Wen.
Whoop, whoop.
Good fucking god, that
She's
woman.
queen. She's queen.
Yes, queen. BD Wong. We have him. Harvey Firestein. Firestein.
Firestein.
I think
You
that's,
had it right the first time. Harvey Firestein.
Okay, James
No,
Hong.
no. Not Weinstein. Firestein.
No, I know.
Okay, just to be clear. Do you remember that when the Weinstein situation was happening, that Firestein tweeted, "Hey, I'm not Weinstein.
Yeah.
It's not me. Don't."
Yeah.
That
By
must
the way,
suck.
Yeah,
I saw somebody
must
on Twitter, which I think this person works for the Disney company. His name is, he's that guy that, fuck, what's his name? He got linked to, like, all of the, fuck, what am I trying to say?
That's what I want to know.
That lady that got arrested, and everybody's like, oh, conspiracy theories, like, she's with, like,
with what's his name? Like, I know what you're talking about. His
he has
girlfriend,
the same
right?
exact name, and I think he works for the Disney company. I'm
Epstein.
not sure. Yes.
Epstein.
And on his Twitter, he's like, not that Epstein.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, that would suck. But yeah, sorry. That
Like,
was
it's
funny.
bad year, bad decade for the for anybody named Epstein or Weinstein
Or
Weinstein.
Weinstein. Yeah.
or just Steen in general.
Or Spacey. Or Lassiter.
Oh fuck.
There's not many of those around. Thank God. But anyway, Pat Morita as the fucking emperor. Holy shit. We have George Takei, oh my, as the first ancestor. I mean, this whole thing. Voice actress June Foray as the grandmother. Like, if you don't know who June Foray is, she played Rocky in Rocky and Bullwinkle. She was also she did the for Lucifer the cat in Cinderella.
Yeah, I looked that up because I wanted to know who the voice of the grandma was, and it was like, she was fucking Lucifer from Cinderella. I mean, holy shit. Talk about a gap between doing Disney movies. When did Cinderella
For
come out?
real?
53? Was it
Yeah.
53?
Yeah.
Damn. It's like 40 years.
Miriam Margolyes, Margolyes. She played Madame Sprout in the Harry Potter movies.
Oh.
She was the matchmaker in the
Ooh,
movies.
interesting.
So you got all that shit going on. Like, the cast is fucking
You
all
forgot
there.
one.
Oh yeah, one Mr. I mean, come on, it's Eddie Murphy as
No, not Eddie Murphy. The legendary James Hong.
I already mentioned him.
You
but
didn't mention James Hong.
I said James Hong
When did you say James Hong?
when I was listing him off.
You didn't say James Hong.
I said James
Okay, continue.
Hong. The Wild Family. His voice is so iconic. You could pinpoint it anywhere. I love the episode in sorry to go sidestep, but I love the episode of Seinfeld, the Chinese restaurant episode. And he was in it. The whole episode was just them trying to find a table at a Chinese restaurant.
I
and
saw
he was
that episode. That was funny.
He was the maitre d'.
Yeah.
And he was like, finally they leave because they're so pissed off. And then all of a sudden he's like, Seinfeld 4, table of 4.
Oh my god.
But yeah, this movie, like, the cast and talent in this movie is just unbelievable. And on the screenplay is written by Chris Saunders, the guy who helped to write Lilo and Stitch.
I mean, Chris Sanders is pretty much the person, kind of the genius behind Lilo and Stitch in a lot of ways. Like he stayed with that entire franchise. And then I think he also was working with the Dragon movies, right, for DreamWorks?
Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon movies, yeah. And he pretty much like wrote the story and everything like that and the backbone of like,
well, that explains why Mulan is so good.
Yeah, and Mulan is really good. You know, it's a really good movie. And you mentioned it before, Jerry Goldsmith's score is unbelievably.
We should note, of course, he is
great.
the composer who did the Soaring Over California music that we all love so much.
Which, by the way, is like one of my top 5 favorite like Disney park sounds.
Every time I go like on a long drive or something or homework, it has to go on. Yes.
Like it's so sweeping and everything like that. I mean, you could like his scores are very epic. You know, it's very epic, and that's how you could describe. Oh, his synth work when Mulan is getting ready to leave.
Total 90s throwback.
It is a total 90s throwback, but damn, is it a good 90s throwback if there ever was one. Like, holy shit. Like, when that song comes on, like, that's what the remake was missing. That's synth music.
They should have gotten Junkie XL on it.
Every time that comes on, like, my blood starts pumping. I'm just like, fuck yeah, Mulan. Fuck that shit up. Let's do it. But yeah, there's so many.
The poster was great for this movie.
Yes, all of the posters for this movie are really good, I think.
As you mentioned before, Kyle, the sound design. I mean, not the least of which is the damn avalanche scene. Which, I mean, what a technical achievement that is.
Like, okay, I'm gonna say my controversial opinion, my controversial Disney opinion. Here we go. The Stampede scene in Lion King walked so the avalanche scene could run.
Well, didn't they use it as a a
template? Yeah.
So I mean, it's fair to say, but not fair to compare which is better, because they're pretty much the same scene.
But I'm saying that the animation is better, and I love the Lion King. Don't get me wrong, you know how much I love the Lion King. But holy shit, the avalanche scene! I'm just like, when I saw that in theaters, the whole movie I was freaking out. Let me just be honest. When I saw it in the theaters, but like I saw that avalanche, I was like, oh my god, what the fuck is this? What the hell? Like it was like just like this utmost like out of body experience that I just it blew me away. It blew my ass off. Take that terminology as you will.
Oh my gosh. You know what's funny? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I've mentioned it before. So when I lived in San Diego, David and I shared rooms, and for Christmas or something, they gave him a rocking horse, but like not like a wooden one. It was a plastic one, and then at the bottom it had metal bars, and then you would just like jump on it. It was kind of like a trampoline, kind of, but it was a horse. And it looked like the horse in Mulan. But for some reason, they put the damn horse next to my side of the bed. And so at night, I had to sleep on the other, like, facing the other way, because it was a black horse. And it was like, it freaked me out. Or
like the shadows and shit like that. Yes,
and I was like, oh my god. But like, what kind of made it better was like, oh wait, it's Mulan's horse. It's fine. Because it had like the white stripe also, kind of like hers does. So
you see, the horse is protecting you this whole time.
But yeah, I don't know why I like have that memory of like, oh, Mulan horse. Yeah.
It was the Phoenix Guardian. That was useless. Oh my god. Sorry, we don't mean to keep on going back and forth about the remake, but we just saw it. Come on.
Yeah. It's Mulan month. It's fine.
It's Mulan month. We're gonna talk about it. But yeah, there's different things. Let's talk about the musical numbers, shall we? Let's talk about the first one. Bring Honest to Us All. Thoughts on that number, guys?
I love all of them. I really do. I like Bring Honor to Us All. A Girl Worth Fighting For, who, if you noticed on the recent Red Spotlight episodes, I've been using that as an inspiration for a lot of titles. Reflection. Of obviously, I'll Make a Man Out of You. I even like True to Your Heart, which is the credit song with Stevie Wonder.
Also,
Wonder in the '98 band.
It's Christina Aguilera's debut.
That I think is kind of like,
forget about that. I love her.
I remember, I think I didn't find that out until recently that was like her debut. Like, I could have sworn she was around a little bit before then, but no, this was like, and I was reading
she
it.
Was
like,
kind of, but not like.
This is the movie.
Like, I remember before watching Mulan, I remember hearing the song "Genie in a Bottle" before Mulan.
But it was Reflection that really catapulted her into superstardom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she didn't play it for a while.
Yeah.
What, this song?
Too. Yeah.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. Until recently, she fully embraced it.
And in fact,
it wasn't
like,
until D23 that she did.
I mean, and we'll get to the whole, because Reflection is kind of the movie and an amazing song, and we've discussed the song in previous shows. But when it comes to what it represents, besides Let It Go, although Idina Menzel's is far more popular than Demi Lovato's version. I'm not saying one way or the other about it. That's just the reality. But this was the last. This is the reality. This is the last one where like the pop version surpassed the original one in terms of like longevity, because this found a space in the pop world. It was a sensation. There were other hits in that decade with Celine Dion, Beauty and the Beast, and
and honestly, like it was such a huge fucking, it was such a big deal. This song coming out as well. I remember one of the first albums I've ever owned was Christina Aguilera's self-titled debut album, and that song was on there, and that I remember hearing it. I was like, wait a minute.
That's Mulan.
That's her? That's Mulan. What the hell is this? But yeah, it was such a, like, Christina Aguilera, goddamn, like, her voice.
Yeah.
God, I mean, in terms of, like, who's working today, automatically top 5. Top 5 vocalists of all time. She's impeccable at what she does. That song, we talked about a little bit of the song when we did the Disney Songs ranking podcast list, but like the lyrics in the song is just extraordinary. I mean, you got like stuff like, if I wear a mask I could fool the world, but I cannot fool my heart. Like lyrics like that, just like
powerful. It's like, I mean, look, it's one of those songs that it's not just a sensation, it's an anthem. And it's an anthem, I think it can be used universally for whatever reason. In the movie, obviously, it was used for her, and the big part of Mulan's character is that she isn't allowed to be herself, and being who she is kind of frowned upon by society. That's kind of a theme anywhere you go, it looks like, for any community, any minority community, obviously. And it's become an anthem to many different communities.
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's talk about the ultimate bop, though. I'm just kidding. But I'll Make a Man Out of You. Let's talk about it. Does your blood not pump while listening to the song? Does it not make you want to pump some iron and kick some ass?
It's really good, but like
it
not
is.
even like the song, like the whole like scenes that come with the song are A1. They're so good.
Yeah, I've been noticing a lot of people talking about this as well in the original Mulan, but this is perhaps, this film, in terms of what it does with its music, one of the best examples of letting your music do a lot of the heavy lifting with character development. Because, like, especially with, I'll make a man out of you. Like, fuck, I mean, this live action version didn't have a fucking chance because they just they really zoomed past it and they made you care about these characters and what's going on here with, so, and then of course even further with, what was it? I was going to say, I won't say I'm in love. No, that's a different movie. A Girl Worth Fighting For. A Girl Worth Fighting For, which is also an amazing song, by the way.
Yeah.
A Girl Worth Fighting For. You asked about, like, in general about all these songs. They're kind of on equal footing for me. I love all of them. I think it's one of the more, even though like there aren't many of them, there are like 4 in the movie and 1 in the credits. That said, it is very one of the more well-rounded, I think, soundtracks.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's not one, dead weight
for
song.
some people. That and just for us, I think we agree with that statement. But for some audiences, they have different opinions, and I've heard people who don't give a shit about A Girl Worth Fighting For, which has also had its own bit of controversy in recent years, I feel, because
it's not my favorite, but like if it's on, like it's like I'm not like, oh, you know what I mean,
skipping
and
it,
like
yeah.
But I think with that one, what I do enjoy is the movie, like the scenes with that song. Especially like when you get to the end and it's like, holy shit. Yeah, like that turn
takes
is
a
like,
dramatic
boom.
turn.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of how it is for me. Like I do like it obviously, but it's not like I'll listen to the others more often.
Apologies. But yeah, I mean, obviously the
that
song
was our
is
cameo
nothing.
appearance by coronavirus. Everybody, just reminding you that it's a thing.
But yeah, by the way, that song is nothing to sneeze at. It is a good song.
God. Jeez.
I did it. Funny lines. What are your favorite funny lines in the whole movie?
Mine is will forever be. Would you like to stay forever?
Forever.
I love it.
Oh my god.
Okay.
There's one.
Right.
There's one by Mushu that's a little controversial, though it is funny. What was it? Because Little Miss Man decided to take her little drag show on the road.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's so funny.
It's a good line.
But I feel like that joke would never be in it.
And it's so funny.
It's funny. I mean, look, that would never be in a movie today. Those words, I think, verbatim. But that brings an interesting topic. We want.
The elephant in the room, which is Eddie Murphy.
Well,
as Mushu.
That's one of them. But the one I was going to talk about, that it doesn't matter to me what order we talk about this, but like the whole like her. So the story is obviously, this is the part of it that comes directly from the source material, and that is she disguises herself as a man. I don't know. I did not listen to the review of last week, but I don't know how deeply you two explored the very weird way, not weird, but like awkward and maybe uncertain direction they were leaning with Mulan.
Homosexuality and all that stuff, with
maybe homoerotic, I don't know,
eroticism.
Yeah, right? So like, and even in the Honest trailer, those were a thing, right? I remember like, oh yeah, like Shang was definitely having a crisis there in the middle because he was kind of falling for a man.
Yeah. And then when he found out that she had boobies, he was like, oh, wow. Yes.
It'll work.
It'll work. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I don't know.
Do you feel like
the
that was something they were playing with, or it's just something people are putting on to the movie itself?
It could be both. I mean, we were never in the writer's room.
Well,
where,
yeah.
like, you know, where the minor note in the script is just like, make subtly gay. We don't like. There's no like for sure thing to look at the notes and everything like that to see what it is. But I think that there is an argument to be said that there is like a subtleness with the homoeroticism in the movie, because like it's so overt. And just like how like overtly sexual some of the things are in the movie, like the line that Mushu has in the movie, like there are some parts in that are bound to notice, like stuff like that. You could see a little bit of like the, you know, the intended sexual nature that, you know, flows within the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and especially like when you're dealing with, you know, intergender, you know, politics.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with everything, like, you know, in that regard. But I don't know.
It was weird in the sense that like you didn't really know if that was the intent or if it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was, why not go all the way? And if it wasn't, why do it at all?
I guess,
yeah,
if you're gonna go down this line of like whether there was, while, you know, Shang thought that Mulan was paying an attraction, and I think there clearly was on some level.
He wanted some ping.
Maybe you can make the argument that perhaps that the only way he could have, on the whole, that gets into a problematic area, but for the time, I think maybe they were like, well, people will assume that the reason why he had feelings is because part of him could tell that she was a woman.
No.
No.
I don't believe that, but
yeah,
you know.
No. But completely. Oh, this is like the thing that I don't understand, because I feel like a lot of the live action movies try to fill in the holes that the animated movies like had, like, for example,
kind of left.
Yeah, I mean, whatever, but like freaking
holes in quotations,
yes,
plot holes in quotation marks.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Beauty and the Beast, they try to do like the whole age thing, like they try to fix that. Don't really remember if they did. In Cinderella, like they gave the prince more of a role, like things like that. So this one, I feel like the thing that like got talked a lot about was whether or not he had feelings for Mulan even before she revealed herself. So it's like, why not use that time to kind of either develop that story or kind of turn it back and be like, no, they were like, he's just like a good friend type of thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, in the live action movie, there was no Shang, right? But the equivalent to Shang,
yeah,
because it's in live action.
Character. I'm sorry,
right, yeah. It may have been more overt. I mean, there were some scenes where he was like following her to the bed. I don't know. Things were happening.
I will say something that I have over time these last 2 weeks gained to appreciate of the live action is the fact that she chose to reveal herself rather than her getting caught in the lie. That may be like the only thing that I like better in that movie than in the live action. Just saying.
I don't know where I stand on that. But on the argument of like Li Shang and everything like that, I read it as like he was not into her, but impressed at her skills growing up. like developing as a soldier and all that stuff. And I think that's what I read it as a kid. It never crossed my mind.
Okay.
In the original,
yeah.
I didn't think that he was getting into her. I just thought he was being.
I didn't think that either. It's just like other people have had these conversations and brought it up before, and it's like a big thing now. But no, I thought the same thing as you did.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's a thing. Okay. I mean, I could see it. I could see where people have their arguments and all that stuff, but I never really thought it was overtly sexual in that notion. But I think it was more prominent in the remake, I think.
Yeah.
This may be getting too in the weeds, but we should also acknowledge that in terms of how sexuality is treated in public or society, shall we say, there are very two different thoughts as to how Western civilization treats sexuality and how the alternative, China or other Asian nations.
Yeah, I mean, while here, like, there's still homophobia for sure. Like, it's a little bit more accepting here in America, I think, versus other places. So I don't know who they were trying to please. That's the thing about the remake, is that it, they pleased
no one.
Like no one.
That happens a lot if you notice. Kind of almost every single time.
So yeah. Let's talk about Mushu. You guys is that your least favorite part, guys? What is your overall thoughts on?
He's there. That's
He's there?
When they mentioned that he wasn't going to be in the live action, it didn't really bother me because I don't know. He was just like always kind of there for me in the movie. Like he's funny and he has good moments and stuff, but I don't know. It like everybody else, I think I paid attention to more.
Yeah, like Mushu was never really, I think, to me, the reason why Mulan worked as a movie. And perhaps a lot of the comments that we've seen over the last few months would suggest perhaps we were a minority, or maybe there are, factions out there that Mushu was a big reason why they liked Mulan in the first place. I mean, you can definitely tell from a creative standpoint, perhaps Mushu, is the kind of comic relief character that can, like, basically they were trying to, with Mushu, they were thinking, oh, this is our Olaf in this movie, the scene stealer character.
Or at the time, it was Robin Williams, as the genie. They were trying to do that, like with Danny DeVito in Hercules, and they were trying to capitalize on that kind of, stereotype kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Although it doesn't seem to have aged the best. I don't have any particular main issue with Mushu. I think he's just fine. I laugh quite a bit at what he says, but to me, he never was. And
he's not the movie for me.
Right.
Yeah.
You're gonna ask me what the movie is? It's Mulan.
Oh yes, definitely.
It's Mulan, which we haven't talked too much yet about at length about her character. Well, I know she's like the last thing we've talked about, but I think, like, for me, it is everything about who Mulan is as a character as to why I love the film. From Ming-Na Wen's performance to just all the I mean, she just comes across as a person who's just good and trying to be as selfless as we've ever seen anybody be.
Yes.
Like, it is just so empowering to see someone like that, like, just regular. It kind of is almost the way we love Ray Nobody, right? Or Ray from Nowhere.
Yeah.
And that is, she's no one special. She's just someone who is decent and trying to do the right thing. And through adversity, she ends up saving the whole nation. And that's that kind of speaks as to why not only that character is so powerful, but why the movie in general is so empowering.
Yes.
She's like in the long pantheon of, and again, like, we talked about this earlier this year with our Disney princess ranked. It's like, this is a Disney princess movie officially, but she's not a princess. And to the point that, I mean, that's also not fair to the princesses because they don't do shit compared to Mulan.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, let's
be I've said it before.
Also,
I don't like viewing this movie as a princess movie at all. Because I feel it kind of downplays her character. You know, she's a warrior. Like, she's a fighter. She's not a princess. I'm sorry, but
can we also address that she is the only Disney character with a high body count? That's badass. That's a badass trait all in itself. I love it. But yeah.
Go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead.
Go on what you were saying.
I was just going to say real quick, and that is, it's interesting that by the time we got to the late 90s, the whole banner of the Disney princess lineup got a little muddied. Because to me, and I feel we all feel the same way, some of the more like questionable decisions was to make Pocahontas and Mulan official Disney princesses. And you almost wonder, okay, are the only reason they're in this lineup is because they're happened to be female led films?
Yeah.
And what does that say about you thinking that, oh, if it just happens to be a woman leading a movie, it's automatically a Disney princess film? You're kind of diminishing the power of Mulan.
Yeah, and Mulan is not really a princess. I mean, she met the emperor once. I mean, that's the only title royalty she has. That doesn't mean she's not royalty to us. But but nevertheless, yeah, I mean, she should stand on her own ground.
Yeah.
You know, and I think she should be separated from that lineup. I think, not through, by default. Wait a minute. She should be.
Wait a minute here. Okay, because we've all heard the debates for years and years about like what Disney characters should be considered princesses. People like Kyle make a big case for Princess Leia. Putting that to the side, okay, what's her character?
She is a Disney princess. Period.
Who is the character in Hercules? Megan? Is it Megan?
Megara.
Meg. Okay, why is she a princess? Why are people wanting her to be a Disney princess?
She's not a princess.
Historically, she is.
But in the movie,
no.
Mm.
He's a bigger god. Like,
isn't that a bit sexist? Like, oh, she's a girl in a Disney Renaissance film, princess.
Yeah, no.
Versus there are some others that should be princesses but are on the line.
I mean, I've seen people say the same thing about Esmeralda from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, or Nala from The Lion King, which that one would make more sense, but still, I guess, because she's not I don't want to get there. Or even Jane from Tarzan. I'm like, all right, you guys are just like
funny. Like, I genuinely love those characters more than like the action, except for like Ariel, but like whatever. Right. But like Jane to me, when I was little, forget it. I got like a custom made dress like Jane when I was like, I loved her so much when I was little. Esmeralda, I loved Esmeralda too when I was little. So I don't know. It's like, I don't want them to be princesses because I feel
don't you notice the pattern here?
Yes,
that's a bit offensive. Like, you're just taking every girl from every Disney movie like princess. There you go.
Because they're a girl. But yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, Kida, she should be a princess because she is one. Fuck it. Princess Alonwe from freaking Black Cauldron should be on the lineup over all the, some of the people that they have on there. But it's a ridiculous list.
Yeah,
and like Anna and Elsa aren't on there. Like, what the fuck?
That one's that one's super technical. Like, that one's so stupid.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Like, because they're in their own franchise and all that shit. So
that's
fucking
stupid.
Bullshit.
That's just fucking stupid.
That makes me want to throw up in my mouth. just how stupid that is. But anyway, Ming-Na Wen as Mulan, I think she fucking kicks ass. Like, just the sincerity that she has, and just like the I mean, we talked about it in the previous one, but like this Mulan. Okay, when I saw Ming-Na Wen in
that was
in the remake, I was like,
part.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
because I was like, now that is
I
Mulan.
legit cheered. I was like, oh my god. And then nobody knew
It's
who
her.
she was. And then somebody was like, that's like the voice of Mulan. And I was like, yes. That's funny.
Like, Your Highness, Mulan. Like, when she just that line, I felt more emoted from that line alone than Mulan throughout the entire
Can we just
movie.
say, like, that woman does not age?
Nope.
Oh, dude. Like, holy shit. Like, you say black don't crack, but I don't know what you could say about Asian.
My God, Kyle.
The point is, Ming-Na Wen looks as youthful as ever, and she has aged gracefully. Where I think she looks better the older she gets. Like, if you look at even some of the stuff from like,
She looks the exact same. I saw pictures of when like Mulan came out. She looks the exact same. What is happening?
Girl,
her hair
I
is
want
longer.
your skin.
Her hair's longer.
Yeah. I want her skincare routine. I want her
Is she
everything.
Is she supposed to come back to the Mandalorian?
I don't know.
Because I know that spoilers. They kind of ended her, but someone told me that she's supposed to come back.
Oh.
She
Well, I
promoted
know-
the second season.
I know that somebody or like people because of like what's going on with the other chick. I don't know her name. Sorry. Like the other.
Gina Carano.
I think so.
What the wrestler chick and the show?
Yes, like what's
Mhm.
going on
Yeah.
with her, and everybody's like, "Oh, let's like leave her off to the side and bring back Ming-Na Wen." So I don't know. We'll
She'd
see.
make an amazing co-lead. You know, she's great. Yeah.
We need more Ming in our lives.
We do.
Let me.
We do.
I think she's an incredible actress. I think she's very underrated as an
Mhm.
actress at that point. I mean, she's done her due diligence in like ER, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything like that.
And the range, dude. Like the range. Like she's an incredible actor when it comes to just like landing those dramatic scenes. But damn, the physicality on her.
Dude, I'll be happy if she kicks my ass. I'll gladly go like kick.
Did you know that
No.
even in I think it was the 5th season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., she did a lot of action scenes on her. Like she did, because she obviously there's stunt doubles and whatever, but she did a lot of them with a broken leg.
I would be nope. Sit me down.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Tap me out, coach. Yeah, but like she's freaking insane. Like she's like when you ask 100% out of her, she gives you 150, and she's like that kind of person. But anyway, her voice acting in this movie is incredible. Yeah. Like her whole persona is just adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Adorable. You feel like the inflection when she's in pain. You could feel when and also this is also due point of the animators as well who animated Mulan. Whoever was who was in charge of the lead character development for her animation, I think did an amazing job. But it's just she the inflection that she has when she's as Ping, when she's doing the voice, hilarious shit. Like, it leads to some good banter, it leads to some good things. Her vocal chemistry with the other campers in the battalion, I think, just like it's such a good mix of well thought out chemistry between the characters.
You're just making me remember something. Go ahead, Alexis.
I was gonna say that moment where she is trying to like say hi to them, and she like punches one of them, and she's just like like shakes her hand in pain. Like those little like subtle things that happen
Quirks.
with all of them. Like I think it's great.
You gotta resist those manly urges. Funny shit.
You know, there's such a warmth to her performance, but I think her performance and also the characterization of Mulan are kind of why everything else in the movie works. Is the heart. You know, there's a, you know, I don't know what it is about lately, you know, modern audiences that some look down on like overly humorous or something that could be construed as cheesy or like, oh, it's too sappy or emotional. They look down on those things. Like we've seen it with Guardians 2. In particular, people don't like that movie because of it plays to the, I guess, sentimentality or some shit like that. But I think
it's just where we are politically and historically in time.
Yeah, but I think that's dumb. I really like, I pull away from that. Like, I think some of the best stuff that we remember are stuff that hits emotionally. And this movie wouldn't be as successful as it has if it didn't land those beats. Like, I think all the way through, you're on Mulan's side, and there's so much that you feel about her love for her father that she would do this. She's not only risking her honor or her family's honor, she's risking her own fucking life. And there was, I mean, that scene where you half believe that they're about to fucking cut her head off. And, I mean, you care about her and you're worried for her, which is kind of what speaks to that moment. But overall, you know, I said earlier that Mulan wasn't one of those films that I would watch a lot, but the character stuck with me. And I remembered her so much so that I think it was a few years ago. This is like maybe 2015, I think. Or man, it might have even been before then, maybe 2013, 14. When they debuted the Mickey and the Magical Map show at Disneyland. One of the moments that, well, actually one of the reasons why I like that show is because it does feature characters that aren't that represented in the parks. And one of the sequences was Mulan, and she was there singing or performing Reflection. And it just made me so happy for that character because I've been to Disneyland so many times, but that may have been like the only time I can recall ever seeing Mulan. At Disneyland. I know that they bring her out for like the Lunar New Year they have every year at California Adventure, but
at Epcot there was a crazy fucking line to go meet Mulan.
Really?
Crazy.
Oh my god! So when I went to this like bothered me so much.
They got rid of Maelstrom and they replaced it with Frozen. It bothered Kyle too. I'm kidding.
When we went to Epcot, you know, I wanted to get like Susan a gift because this is her favorite character, her favorite like Disney movie, and so
oh, that's nice.
Oh, is it?
Yes. So
really? Okay.
You know, obviously, like when I think of her, I'm like, okay, like Mulan stuff, and so I get to China, there's nothing. There was nothing of Mulan. And I like specifically waited to go like there to get something. There was nothing. I was so confused. I was like, wait, am I in the wrong country? Like, isn't this... She saved China, right? Like...
It's not Japan. It's not any other country.
No, and I went back to Japan because I was like, maybe I missed something. Maybe it's over there.
Did they have Big Hero 6 stuff in Japan because of the whole San Fran Tokyo thing?
No, actually, no, they don't. What the heck? I didn't even think of that.
I think the reason why is because it is such an international destination, Disney World. I think they don't want to piss off any Chinese visitors.
But at the same time, I call bullshit because if you look at like how Epcot has been like the last few years and the direction that it's going, I feel that they're throwing caution to the wind on that. Because I feel like every project that has been announced for Epcot has been more IPs.
IP, yeah. I mean the name Epcot, rings true, because
And you know what? I think I'm fine with that. Why shouldn't there be a Mulan attraction in China at Epcot? Don't you think she's owed that?
Yes. I was genuinely like confused. I was mad. I was like, how is this possible? Like, I have one more day here and I haven't gotten anything. And I waited to come here specifically. What is happening? It was a hot mess.
Well, what did you end up doing?
I don't remember. I forgot what I gave her. I think I gave her like ears. I might have.
So you couldn't find anything from Mulan?
No!
Then.
I was so bad.
You know, I could see it now, you know, coming soon to Epcot, Mulan's avalanche of, you know, adventure.
Desert
Escape
adventure.
from the avalanche.
See the phoenix.
See the phoenix. You make it sound like freaking Skittles. See the phoenix, taste the phoenix. But yeah, I mean, it's completely like, come on, you could absolutely put, you know, all that shit in the China. Just do it.
I thought it made sense. I guess not.
You could have meet Mulan there. Why not have Mulan merchandise?
I don't even think she was there when I was there. So
it's sad because you can meet Pocahontas in Animal Kingdom.
Literally, I saw Alice in the England Pavilion. I saw Sleeping Beauty, Belle in France, and then I saw Snow White in Germany. I was very confused as to what was going on.
I saw Mulan.
Oh, Aladdin and Jasmine. I saw them.
Yeah. But when I was there, I saw Mulan, and she was in her matchmaker outfit. And she was meeting people, but there was like a ridiculously long line for good reason. I mean, she is like a rare character to meet and greet and all that stuff, like you mentioned.
I feel she shouldn't
cool.
be rare though. I feel like at this point she's long. I feel like and this is a different part of the legacy of Mulan, the unfortunate aspect of it, but I feel like in many ways Disney themselves screwed over Mulan the film in terms of like when it was released and what order it fell in the Renaissance, because like remember at the midway point of the Renaissance there was a screw up where Lion King ended up moving up before Pocahontas, and then Pocahontas was supposed to be like the big magnum opus. If you listen to Jeffrey Katzenberg, who by the way is responsible for Quibi, so don't listen to him. Let's just be real about that. But Pocahontas did a lot of damage that they weren't expecting, not just from like the cultural perspective, but just in general, the film was not well received, and this did come after Pocahontas, right? And please correct me if I'm mistaken, but I do not believe that The Hunchback of Notre Dame or Hercules were as successful as the original Renaissance film from a financial standpoint.
No.
So you had Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, and Pocahontas that were basically treading water on the, you know, big box office numbers of the Renaissance. And then you have Mulan, and I want to say that Mulan was more successful than the previous three films that came before it, but I can't help but wonder that perhaps overall that movie was hurt because it came after three films, while not bad or terrible, but they just, because you're kind of, you know, fighting against expectations. Right.
Yeah, underperformed to due point of what for Magnum, you know, things.
Is Mulan the second to last Renaissance film?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, that reminds me. When I saw this movie in theaters, there were two trailers that played that freaked me out. In a good way. Like, I was hyped up. Number one was the dinosaur trailer.
Oh. But the trailer, though.
The trailer, yeah, and it was like the 5-minute trailer of like showing like the animation and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was a long
like,
fucking trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also the second one that freaked me out was the Tarzan
with
trailer.
the drums and the
Yeah. I was like, I had to see this shit. Let's do this. But yeah, sidestep. But I remember vividly seeing those two before Mulan.
Plus, also like, it's also like not fair that these movies came after The Lion King.
Yeah, look, not fair at all. Which was the highest grossing freaking animated film
It's like,
of all time until that point.
It's kind of like what happened with Zootopia and Moana. Like you had Frozen, and then you had these movies, and it's like everybody was kind of like, let's go back to Frozen.
Yeah,
you know?
let's do another one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, poor Moana. Nobody went to go see it. I feel that Mulan, I don't know. I mean, it came out like technologically wise. This came out at the right time because like enough like animated materials have come past.
It was just like it wasn't just Lion King though. It was like a series of a lot of things going wrong at the same time. Like Hunchback was the first film after Lion King, and it was opening against Titanic.
Like, go figure.
Which was in theaters for what, 2 years?
Yeah. And there was no way that boat was going to sink.
And then came Pocahontas, which... Yeah.
And also, like, 2 movies... Not even 2. 3 movies. I mean, I feel like The Hunchback probably got a lot of backlash. So I assume...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
so,
a Temple
like,
of Doom situation where, like, it was too dark.
Yeah. So, 3 movies that came out with a lot of backlash.
Which, by the way, don't you, like, when you hear things like that, make yourself, like, think, like, really? That's what you bitched about? Like, when I hear people talk about, like, their issues with Temple of Doom, the second Indiana Jones film, I'm like, that movie's great. What the fuck are you talking about? And then with Hunchback, I'm like... Yeah, it's the source
dark.
material.
Yeah,
but like, does that inherently
great movie? I'm sorry. And
I just
the score, the music. Goddamn,
just because it's dark, it means that it's worse for some reason.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Oh, you guys are forgetting one important part of Disney history that could have contributed to
the whole
to Frank Wells.
Oh. Yeah, well, that was really dark.
That kind of dampened a lot of things because he was kind of like the brains and genius. You know, a lot of people saying, "Oh, Michael Eisner" and all that stuff, but no,
a lot of people
Frank Wells, yeah, like me. You know, I'm such a huge. I'm an Eisner fanboy and all that stuff, but really, like a lot of the genius behind the Disney Renaissance was Frank Wells.
It was clear that Frank Wells was the mom.
Yeah.
And when he passed away, all the relationships he was the glue, and they all came crashing down.
Yes.
Yeah. So when Frank Wells died, you know, you could definitely feel that impact that was left, you know, upon that. But I think that there are definitely good movies. I mean, for sure, there were good movies that were released.
I think that they were. I love all of the Renaissance movies. There's one in particular that I'm like, ooh, I do not like this movie. But, like, all of them, they're my childhood.
Are you talking about The Rescuers Down Under?
Yes.
This is so weird. Like, I've never seen the Rescuer films, but literally the consensus is that The Rescuers Down Under is great and better than The Rescuers, and yet you prefer The Rescuers to the Down. I don't even see The Rescuers Down Under as a Renaissance film, though.
I don't acknowledge
it technically is. Oh wow!
No, I don't like that movie. I grew up watching the first Rescuers like a lot, and so when the second one came out, and I saw it for the first time, I mean I was little, and so I was like, the fuck is this? Like, this isn't my movie.
These aren't the rescuers.
What's happening? Why are they...
What are they rescuing? Why are they down under? Why aren't they over under?
So I was very upset.
But
Still am.
Look, we shouldn't we should be clear about this. When you're talking about the second half of the Renaissance, you have Mulan, Pocahontas, Tarzan, Hunchback, Hercules. Really? That's a bad... Those films are bad compared to Chicken Little, Home on the Range.
Oh, that was shit. That era was shit. I'm sorry.
That's when it
that was
went
horrible. Like Home on the Range, more like
I know somebody that doesn't like the Renaissance.
And of course they cast
movies.
Roseanne for that.
Oh my god.
I
I know somebody that doesn't like the Renaissance movies. And
Are you what?
Yeah, she loves like the classic ones, like Snow White, Cinderella, blah blah. But she doesn't like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lilo and Stitch. She doesn't like. It was a wild conversation.
What the fucking hipster is that? Okay. Lion King, fuck off.
Did she say why?
I mean, I think she's older. I mean, like, not like that old, but like, at the time that those movies came out, she was like teenage years, preteen type. So,
well, there's
like,
that.
Yeah, like, it makes sense. But like, I feel like that happened with Kyle, like, where he kind of was like, Disney movies, but then now he's like...
Really? When was this?
Yeah, because the thing is that I discovered metal and all that shit, and I was like, oh, Disney, what the fuck is that, and all that stuff. But then as soon as like the nostalgia bug hit, and it hit pretty hard enough to where I make a fucking podcast about it.
But like, I feel like even then, like you like hit a certain point where I don't know. I feel like you have to like look at these movies and be like, okay, like they're pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
like,
just it was like I said, it was a weird conversation because she kept like we were watching Hercules and she's like, yeah, I don't like this movie. Like I think it's kind of boring. And I'm like, my heart. What are you talking about? And like when she said Lilo and Stitch, though, I was like, what? Like I'd never heard anybody say that they don't like Lilo and Stitch.
What the fuck is was she lobotomized? What the fuck?
I mean, look. Clearly, that opinion is
wrong.
Well, that's one way to look at it, but it's an opinion. Yeah, we don't meet too many of those people out there, but they are out there. I mean, there are people out there, and quite a number of them actually, that don't like Star Wars as much as like we can't believe it because like what. You know?
I mean, with good reason, I could see why somebody wouldn't like Star Wars, especially if you go into the fandom and all that shit. Fuck that.
I don't even think the fandom is a factor for a lot of people. They're just like, yeah, it's cool, but, you know.
It's not, like my dad, he grew up with Star Trek over Star Wars. You know, that's what just was readily available to him when he was a kid. So he was just like I remember Star Trek, I remember... William Shatner, like William Shatner is his Harrison Ford. So like that's how people feel. I mean, it just depends on when you grew up, really.
Yeah. Well, like my dad, he likes Star Wars and stuff, but like his favorite is the first one, and then after that he like completely lost track because he's like they just kept making them like over and over again, and he's like I don't know what's going on.
What do you mean there's an episode 5?
It's been 40 years. It's really hard to keep up with movies over 40 years?
Well, like, when the first one came out, he was, like, I think maybe 10? So then, when the second one came out, he didn't keep...
Like 13,
yeah,
14,
like, he didn't keep up with it anymore.
Yeah, and also, movies nowadays, like, people are, like, almost always constantly in the loop of what's going on. Like, as soon as, like, there was, like, a Batman movie announced, with Robert Pattinson, everybody's like, oh, Batman, that's coming out. Or, like, when Force Awakens came out, everybody knew that, a new Star Wars movie was coming out years before that.
How could you not know? The fucking marketing was in
but,
your
like,
face.
But I'm just pointing out examples of like like people are more in the know now than they were back then. I mean, you got to like look at you know, you had to open up a newspaper or, you know, like just like little clippings, like, because I was listening to Kevin Smith and all that stuff when he did the Batman 1989 audio commentary with Mark Bernardin on Fat Man on Batman, and he said that that he had to find out through a magazine on a little blurb that Michael Keaton was playing Batman in a new movie.
That's funny.
And then he was like, "What is this? Mr. Mom is playing Batman?" And that's how he found out, through a magazine, you know, and it wasn't just like an article, it was just like a news, you know, blip that you find in the magazine. So you get that with a lot of people,
especially
you
like
know?
With like Star Wars. There was a big gap between the first one and the second one. So, and it wasn't how it is now. Like, obviously, yes, there's like fans that were like diehard fans. But if you're just like a casual fan and you don't have, at least with us, like we can still keep up with like news that's going out, like how you guys are saying. On
this little box called the phone.
Back then, they didn't have that, you know? Like, the movie came out, they were like, oh, this is great. Okay. And then 4 years later, the next one came out, and they're like, oh, yeah, that was a thing. You know?
I often think that sometimes we're a little weird, though, like with our group, because literally we don't do much texting, like to keep up. Like our podcasts are how we like catch up. But really, like our messenger is just like, oh, here's some news. Let's just dump it here for a reaction or something. We just share a bunch of like links to news, you know?
Yeah, and back then you couldn't do that, you know? I mean, you could mail mail a newspaper clipping or something like that, and you'd be like, hey, this is happening. But like, also, another point of perspective, when the first Star Wars came out, we're far past the Mulan conversation.
Because of course Star Wars, you know?
Yeah, it had to be Star Wars. But Star Wars only played in 600 theaters in the nation.
That's a little bit.
That is a little bit, but yet again, it became a cultural phenomenon just from the 600. So, like, people who were not around the 600 theaters probably didn't even know what a Star Wars was, you know? So, I mean, it just depends. You had to, I hate to sound like one of those guys, but you kind of had to be there, you know, when that blew up, you know, and Star Wars, when Empire came out, it was just like, again, you had to have like word of mouth or something like that, and that was your marketing. That's why when you look at like the box office numbers back then, it was just like, 153 million for Empire Strikes Back or something like that. You know, very little numbers, but that was big at the time because marketing wasn't such a prominent thing that it is now. I mean, now there's like conventions dedicated to marketing, like Comic-Con and Disney, you know, D23 and you know, and you have conventions that do that, but back then there wasn't anything really. I mean, Comic-Con was just a place where a bunch of sweaty people went to go read comic books. That was all that Comic-Con was back in the day. So a lot of things have changed in the, you know, the context of where pop culture is then and where it is now, that I find really fascinating. And now the nerds rule the world, and it freaking sucks. But yeah, I mean, news and everything like that was a little bit less intricate than
it is now.
Today.
Yeah, there's too many news now. Too much news.
Yeah. And you don't even know which one is real or which one is not, and you're just like, what is this? Like, here, say Johnny Depp is playing triplets in a new Zack Snyder movie, you know, like just like little minute details like that. You know, it goes, you know, under the radar because like there's so much going on now. But yet again, the information is out there, and people like us who follow the news very intimately, some more than others here on this panel. I'm not naming names. I'm just kidding, Alexys. He looks at me. But yeah, I mean, that's where we are. We just do that shit and we talk about it here on this wee little podcast across the alien nation. But I think that this it shows a different kind of meaning to where pop culture is, and seeing and engaging in what you have now. And I think that's really important. I mean, who knows where we are in 30 years in terms of like pop culture engagement, so I don't know. That was my little rant on pop culture and where we are now in terms of getting your information and facts. So yeah, I'm done with Mulan. I've said all I
I think it has held up considerably, and I think it has a very bright future to go.
Moreno?
I agree. I think, I don't know, I feel like it means something different every time, or like through the years,
Yeah.
But like in a good way.
This movie is 22 years old.
Yeah.
Ouch. Yikes, that's a long time. But it's
We're old. I'm 25. What?
I thought you were like
85.
120.
No.
Wow, you're a lot younger than we thought. What the hell? I thought you were like the granny's age. Do you have a lucky cricket? Oh, we didn't talk about Cricky.
We just did.
But anyway.
Damn.
Yeah, cricket is a thing. We need to have a podcast on Disney crickets. But anyway, did you like what you heard here? And if you did, you could check us out everywhere you listen to podcasts. We got a lot of stuff coming up for you guys. We're going to talk about Waking Sleepy Beauty. We're going to talk about other things. Halloween. Hello? Yeah, you're laughing. Why are you... Okay, we lost Alexys Soto. So I'm gonna wrap it up quickly. We have the Chorus series on Red Spotlight Entertainment. We're also doing the Haunting of Hill House series retrospect, I guess, on Red Spotlight Entertainment as well, along with Doctor Sleep and The Shining material coming up in Halloween. Also, Peter and I are planning on talking about the movie Trick or Treat, and reviewing about that.
Not just that, but To the Table's coming back for Halloween. Peter also shared with me, I can break the exclusive here, breaking news, the films that we will be talking about. Are you excited? I have them with me right now. We're going to reveal to the public for the very first time. This is history right here in the making. For the schedule for To the Table, the films that, and by the way, these are films that I haven't seen, that I will be seeing, that we'll be discussing on To the Table. So we have the Steven Spielberg written Poltergeist, which is why he didn't give it to you. Also Bruce Willis, and I believe this is Shyamalan, The Sixth Sense.
You've never seen this movie?
This is why this show exists. Be quiet, please. And also the Guillermo del Toro produced The Orphanage.
I love that movie. That was like, after The Sixth Sense, that was my first like scary movie. It scared the crap out of me, but it was so good. It's so good.
Wouldn't it be your second horror movie?
Yeah.
So you're doing Trick or Treat then, I gather.
Yeah. So we're doing that.
A lot of Halloween content, even though there'll be no Halloween at all. But hey, we'll be waking up for it.
We're keeping the spirit alive. Okay.
Yeah, on all of our shows.
And we're doing a retrospect episode for the Haunted Mansion. I'm so fucking excited for that one, because I think I love that movie more than anybody in the on the panel. I unabashedly adore this film. That's why when people are like, "Oh, this movie is bad," I was like, "Fuck you." We're also doing the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror movie with one young, Kristen Dunst.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about that.
Alexys doesn't know what that movie is.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the Twilight Zone movie. No, you're thinking about the Twilight. Okay, Tower of Terror. Okay.
Yeah.
Tower of Terror movie. Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
I don't think it's called Twilight Zone. I don't think it's even called that. I think it's just called the Tower of Terror. Before they got the licensing for Twilight Zone, and then they just slapped it on there. Yeah, so that's going to be coming up on Red Spotlight Entertainment. The Fantasy Fair. Sorry. And yeah. So without further ado, I'm Kyle Lira. With me is Alexys Soto and Alexys Moreno. And as always, stay magical.